We're Chris and Ashley, and we are a marriage surviving sexual addiction and infidelity. Recently, we have gotten a few more comments and questions, and we're so thankful for those because it helps us to
know what to say,
know what to talk about. Because again, there's so much that we have learned that the most common thing that I think we get is, I'm so thankful you guys do these videos so that we don't feel alone. And that was our hope. That was our whole picture of doing these, so that people could understand that you just feel like, you know, you're not crazy. You're not alone. We're in this. And when you're in it, I'm sorry, and it's hard, but this is kind of what happened. After one of my videos that I talked about, that when I'm triggered and he listens and sits with me in it, then the pain and the anger goes away a lot quicker. Well, this person had commented on there, and it's a perfect comment because I know we have 100% been in this situation over and over and over again. And I'm pretty sure, not that I want to speak for anybody, but I'm pretty sure every marriage with many fights have been in this scenario. But I want to see if this, sounds familiar. She basically said, when I discuss this with my partner and he sits there and listens, I don't feel like the anger goes away. She said, things play out like this, and this is what happened. She says, number one, I feel triggered and talk about what I'm feeling. 2, my partner feels triggered by my triggers and begins to feel shame. 3, he begins to self-hate and say he's sorry. 4, his reaction and self-hate begins to infuriate me, and I spew angry words filled with resentment towards him. 5, this becomes the negative loop that we get stuck in and feel like we can't get out. And then we feel bad for a few days. Okay, those 5 steps, I can't even tell you how many times we have been in that exact scenario and situation. So she asked, I guess my question is, what is wrong with the approach that we have when dealing with this? What would be a healthier way to deal with our triggers? And what do our discussions look like to prevent going down that rabbit hole? So again, the only thing that we can do, because every situation is so different and everybody handles things so differently, is we can just share what we've done in this scenario. Because I don't ever want to say somebody's handling it wrong or doing this wrong. I just want to basically say, here's some things we've learned through it and through counseling in different situations like that. So one of the things that I can say of those 5 steps of what it happened is, we've been through like 3 scenarios. So for instance, I'm kind of going to go over a very real life situation that happened between Chris and I, a skit or a role play, if you will, just to kind of help this. But basically, in those 5 steps that our commenter commented, when we have gone to counseling saying, we're stuck in this rabbit hole, how do we get out? They talked about something called breaking the drama triangle. And it's really helpful. So I would definitely Google it because it has all these things. But basically there's 3 people in this drama triangle. There's a rescuer, a persecutor, and a victim. And that really helps those 5 stages of when it's like, okay, we thought we were communicating about it, but all we do is get stuck and go down the rabbit hole. And Chris had what he was going to say about the drama triangle, which was...
Well, I mean, the drama triangle, it's not necessarily a fix-all. Certainly not the fix-all. It's not a cure. It helps you recognize, hey, what am I doing here? What role in that triangle? Am I in the triangle? What role have I taken? And then I think once you recognize, I've slipped into that, it can help you kind of dig out of it if needs be, so you can get back to healthy conversation. Yeah.
So that you don't stay down in the rabbit hole. It's like, once our counselor introduced this drama triangle and what roles that we play, I do feel like as an addict, they can become very good at playing the victim role. That whole, oh, I'm so sorry, you don't deserve to be with me, you deserve to be with somebody way better. It's like a victim role that brings out the persecutor in me. And the persecutor is the one who's like, they start to criticize and without providing guidance, and they, I don't know, are critical, unpleasant. They lots of different things. Again, something to definitely Google, but
and the reason she thinks, can see that an addict enters the victim mode a lot is because I entered it over and over and over again. It's, for me, I can see as an addict, that's exactly what I would do in order to feel this shame, in order to feel this guilt, in order to feel, worthless. It's all feelings I'm inflicting upon myself because it's part of getting me back in an addict cycle of, oh, I'm worthless and I need to numb out, I need to cope and go back to the drug of choice that...
Well, and I don't think it's always on purpose. Obviously, that's not intentional. That's not what's in his head. Like, hey, I'm going to go into victim mode so that I can later act out. I think it's more or less like...
It's a cycle that's created over time.
It's a horrible cycle that's created, because I certainly don't want to be the persecutor. Like our commenter said, when he begins to self-hate or shame or like, I'm sorry, or you don't deserve me, or you don't deserve this, you deserve somebody better, those kinds of things, I'm like, I just want to yell at him. It's like, you be better. I want you, so you just be better. And like all these different things like start to, all this resentment and whatever boils up, and if he cries, it really makes me mad. And that's hard, because you don't want to be mad at somebody who's crying, but I'm like, stop.
Well, and that's why Rescuer is one of those in there, because, if I go into a victim mode, the other person can either go into that persecutor where it's attacking, or you go into that rescue. No, you're great, you're amazing. I'm sorry, I'm sorry that I did this. You're fantastic. So Rescuer's in there as well, also unhealthy, because it's just, you're just adapting to a role that someone else is in right now.
And what we always called it, we always said, like, you're out crazying my crazy. Yeah. That was our drama triangle that we called. Every time we'd go down that rabbit hole, it's like, oh, you're just out crazying my crazy so that we stop this fight or whatever. So
who's got it worse type thing.
Basically, I wanted to give an exact scenario of 3 exact routes we've taken, okay? Where we live, there's a big billboard and there's lingerie on it. So basically, it's pornography. Yes. And my husband has talked about it many times, and he's talked about all the boundaries and bottom lines he sets up for himself so that he doesn't look in that direction or doesn't get triggered by it. Well, on one particular day, family outing, we were having a perfectly good time. I was triggered by it. And it's all the things that start to happen in my triggers, okay? It's the speeded heart rate, the blood boiling, the feeling like an elephant sitting on my chest. I can't breathe. I'm starting to feel like I'm going to freak out. I'm going to either fight or flight. I'm in trauma mode. All these things start to happen when triggers hit. And you never know, because I drive by that billboard almost every day. And for whatever reason, this day was a day that I just wasn't handling it. And we were having a perfectly fine day. Yeah. So obviously there were some other thoughts or situations that happened that boiled that. But what happens is when I go into trauma mode or when I go into trigger mode, I started to be like, oh, I bet he's messing up again. I bet he's slipping. I bet he's not telling me. And so then it starts to go down this downward spiral of freak out mode. So I started to be like, when's the last time you slipped? And you haven't talked to me about your recovery in a long time. And what's going on? Like, are we not doing well? Like, all these questions start to spill out my mouth when I'm in trauma mode. And it could have gone one of 3 ways, because throughout our relationship, it has gone all 3 of these ways. But it actually went a really wonderful direction, and that's the information that we want to give. That's the way that we can say, well, what's a different approach or a healthier approach? I want to share the approach that we eventually ended up taking, and it is, I feel, because we are aware of the drama triangle, we got counseling, we got some help through it, and that's the 3rd approach that we took. But I'm going to go through the first 2. So, billboard, I'm upset, I'm spewing things out at him, I'm asking when's the last time he slipped, all these different things. He could have taken the persecutor approach, which is, again, I wasn't even looking at that billboard, and why would you bring that up to me, and, oh, you never let things go, and you're never going to forgive me for anything, and blah, blah, blah.
We're having a perfectly good family
Perfectly
outing.
Good.
You've ruined it.
Yeah. So he could go into yelling. Okay, and that could be persecutor. Number 2, the second road, which is kind of sounds like a little bit what our commenter was talking about, which is the victim mode. The victim mode is which is what he took a lot as well. The victim mode is he starts to cry. He starts to say, I'm so sorry. Ugh, I don't deserve you. You deserve someone way better than me. I've ruined our lives and blah blah blah. Like getting really down on himself to the point where it's like uncomfortable now because I just shared all my feelings that I was upset with, and I was feeling really angry, and because I was feeling angry and hurt and sad, now it's like I feel like I have to either take the persecutor or the rescuer mode because he's victimizing himself. He's gone into shame. He's gone into hating himself. And I'm sitting there feeling like I have to be like, no, honey, you're great. And I don't want to. Then it makes me even more angry. So then it starts to be like the whole, you know what? And the spewing resentment and all that kind of stuff. Those are the two roads that you could take that will everybody enters into the drama triangle, because again, I'm triggered, so the very first few things I'm saying are kind of taking us maybe into the direction of drama triangle, because it's like, when's the last time you slipped, and all these different things, and those are words that can be hurtful and can bring up different things for him, and I'm fully aware of that. But again, sometimes in trigger and trauma mode, there's so many things that can come up with that you have to be really careful. So that's what happened. But here is what the third approach, which is what he actually took. And this is when I say, when he sits with me in it, when we communicate well and he handles it well and sits in my pain with me, then it gets over pretty quickly. So this is what actually happened. I said all those things. I was upset about the billboard. I was asking him, when's the last time you slipped? This and this and this. And then his words to me were, honey, I am so sorry that you're in pain right now. I have lived my life, I have lived my life in a way that has led for you to be triggered and traumatized. I am so sorry that almost every day you are reminded by actions or something that I have done that have put you in a position to where this fear and pain and hurt comes up. I am so sorry. What can I do for you right now? Okay, so in that moment, he didn't go into self-hating. He didn't talk about himself. He didn't turn it to himself. He recognized his wife was in pain, and it hurt me really badly. And he did not worry about like self-hating and victim and this and this and this. And my favorite thing when I am triggered or in trauma mode that my husband does is when he'll take accountability, okay? Not responsibility for my pain, because I'm responsible for my pain, but accountability for the pain that is there. The accountability piece of, I have lived my life in a way that has led you to have triggers and trauma often, because then I'm at least like, he does recognize why that pain is there. I am not crazy for being triggered again, even though I've driven past this billboard 50 billion times and not been triggered. I am not crazy for having this moment. He recognizes that he has lived his life in a way that has led some trauma and triggers. And so then that helps me.
Yeah, it's called the safety script. I mean, it's something that I learned in counseling, because I'd have that constant always going into the victim in a moment like that. And our counselor helped me with the thing. It's called the safety script, and practicing it several times, the first many times it comes off just exactly like it says, a script, which I think can also be very aggravating, because you feel like you're just being fed lines. But through practice, and as you come to really feel it and understand it, they would become my words. It's the, I'm sorry that you're feeling whatever it is. The fact that you are feeling this is evidence that I have, and what you've done. No woman should have to feel these emotions, whatever it is. And then again, I'm sorry that you are feeling this, and what can I do for you now? I mean, those are kind of the basic steps, and practice makes it your own.
And make it your own.
Because you can't keep it a script. With everything we talk about, and especially with this drama triangle, everything, there really just is, there is no thing, there is no cure, there is no you arrive at a point, a year sobriety, 5 year sobriety, and suddenly it's just constant work. And so continuing to work on it and making it my own is just one of those steps. Recognizing the drama triangle, recognizing that